Evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance A Streaming. It is Sunday night, and that means it is time for the Australasian Supercar eSeries here, and it is season number 6 tonight. The sixth running of the V8s on the ovals. We're going to be running it here at Nashville Super-speedway. Joining me up here in the booth, myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with you, of course. I have Mark Johansson. Mark, how are you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back for season 6. It's only been a few weeks, but it seems like a lifetime.
I know, time does fly, doesn't it? It's one of those things. It sort of goes very, very quickly with the with the time. But it's almost like no time has passed since we were finishing that epic season at 5, of course, and seeing Mr. Raymond Jaeger take out the victory. He's just coming on to track now in the RKJ Web Services car. So he's going to be hoping to keep that number 1 on his car, or at least in the team. It's been very tricky though for drivers to keep hold of the title. We've not had too many double reigners. We've had a few drivers take the title a couple of times, but not one after another.
Yeah, it's been been unusual. It's a little bit different here. We just seem to get a different winner every time. But yeah, unlike the NASCAR scene where we tend to get a one person a little bit more dominant than the other, here we seem a very even races, and anyone can win on any night.
Absolutely. Just looking at the track temperature, track details. 27 degree air temperature, 28 degree track temperature. It's going to cool down as Jaeger just clips the wall there on his qualifying lap. That's not going to help him out at all. That's going to cost him that lap at least, and that's going to be very hard to come back to for the qualifying for him. So he's going to really be ruined at that one. As we will flick over as well to the race information, it's going to be 152 laps here tonight, Mark. It's 326 kilometres, so a nice long race here at Nashville Super-speedway. This place is different though because it's concrete.
Yeah, the heat's not going to stay in the cement as much as it does with the with a normal asphalt track. It will cool down fairly quick, so we're going to see the complete opposite tonight, maybe where the heat causes the marshmallow effect. Tonight we may find the cars not being able to get the heat into the tyres and have the same effect, but for a different reason.
Yeah, it's a very different challenge indeed. We're just looking at the 27 there, Jai Schultz. He's going to be hoping for a solid run tonight. He's had a fairly decent week in finishes, so he's going to be hoping to get a repeat of his Thursday night triumph, of course, here tonight in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, of course, brought to you by My Private Sellers. Looking at about 55 to 60 laps as Jai does not make it round for that lap. That is his qualifying over and done with. A huge wreck there as he crosses the line.
Yeah, that's taking the right side of the car out, so that's him done for qualifying, and that leaves him down in 15th spot at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to leave him in a sort of unenviable position. Got about 30 cars, I think, tonight from my quick glance. So fairly good field, of course. Live timing is available. We've posted the just checking the comments for the pinned comments on those ones. Strategy here though is going to be it's keeping close to each other. This place it's not like your standard super speedway. It's not like a Daytona or a Talladega, is it?
No, it's not. It's very different, this track. A little bit rough in spots, but it's can spread out. Some of the racing can spread out here, just depending on how close the boys can get to each other.
Absolutely, as we have just completed qualifying, so the cars will be just getting ready to line up for the grid, and what we will do is bring up the grid page. There we go. Everything is working, and it's Barry Neal taking pole position in the Aotearoa Roarer Racing Team, and I mispronounced that again. I will never get it right, I'm sure. Kay Donnelly on his outside, that's row number 1. Row 2 sees Nicholas Walsh next to Ruben Phelps. On the third row, we've got Adam Malone with Dwayne Priest. Row number 4 sees Gary Wellman next to Justin Witcher. Row number 5, we've got Dylan and Cheatham. 6th row is Finley Matson. 7th row, Maxfield and Patton. On row number 8, we've got Grenshaw and Schultz. Row number 9 sees Howe next to Roffey, Kim Roffey. Craig Roffey lines up next to Christopher Tomlin on the 10th row of the grid. Row number 11 sees reigning champion Mr. Raymond Yeager next to Peter Morris even, sorry. Row number 12, Philip Marsh next to Matt Patton. And that is the end of the drivers that have set the time. Following that, it will be Darren McKenzie, Maddie Ray, Andy Barber, Cody Jordan and Mick Rush rounding out the field here tonight. So, Mark, it's going to be a race, and it's got to be looking out for the cars tonight, because any damage could really, really hurt you.
Yeah, these things aren't real forgiving with damage. Although saying that, we did see last season a few guys being able to complete races with no boot lids and some panels missing on the front. But generally, it makes it very hard.
No, absolutely. So, sometimes the boot lid getting knocked off can be a boon, of course, because you lose that rear downforce and makes the car a little bit slipperier through the air, of course. But I'm sure most people would rather have it sticking on there, because it makes the car very, very slidey as it gets out there. We are getting around for the formation lap here of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Pro Sellers, of course. Big thank you to our sponsors, Witcher Electrics, United Electrical Solutions, My Private Seller, RKJ Web Services, and my brain's gone dead, Mark.
Yeah, see what happens when you have a few weeks off. You forget everyone.
I know, it's the problem, isn't it? It's always the thing. Hot toddies, that's the one I'm trying to think of. There we go, hot toddy heating. So yeah, it's one of those tricky things, isn't it? It's remembering things is not the easiest thing for us to do. I will blame our age for that one. As we're coming up here, getting ready to go, and the cars are going to roar off. Let's listen to these engines as they roar away for this first lap. And we are away, and it's Barry Neal leading the pack away in front of Nicholas Walsh at the moment.
Yeah, Barry's definitely got a great jump there. Already out to a half a second lead. So maybe the boys just missed that start a little bit. But we do know how good Barry is on these race starts.
No, absolutely. Barry is a absolute flyer when it comes to these race starts. He's one of those quick drivers, and he's very good at keeping the car alive, and he is currently out there in the lead at the moment in that very beautiful, striking blue car, and he's pulling up a fairly decent lead of half a second already over Nicholas Walsh.
Just watching further back, Carl, we've already got Raymond Jaeger on the move. He's up to 16th spot, so nice little move.
Yeah, the RKJ Web Services car moving forwards quickly, and look, if you need some websites designed, you just need some web solutions and things like that, RKJ Web Services place to go. And he's even got the number 1 on the side, saying he's number 1 in web services.
Looking further back, they've already started to bring themselves out of their way. Our man Matty Ray's out there in 25th, so He be looking for another good run tonight.
Yeah, the SRM car keeping back a little bit, the traditional Matty Ray style in the Mobile Breaker Mechanical SRM car. He's just keeping a little bit of distance towards the back and just keeping himself out of trouble, but you can see just how much the field is gapping. There was a huge gap from first to last, about 17 seconds from Jai Schultz in 28th to the lead now. So already a big gap here. And I imagine some people are just taking a little bit softer on these opening laps just to keep their tyres in the game a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. What do we see for fuel wise tonight, Carl?
We did say at the start of the hour mark about 55 to 60 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, about that sort of 55-60 lap range we should be looking at. So some people might be able to save a little bit more. We'll keep our eye on those big fuel savers. Up the front though, the gap is starting to close a little bit between Neil and Walsh.
And Donnelly is still right on the rear end of Walsh's car, so that'll be interesting to watch. In fourth we have Ruben Phelps and Adam Malone having a little bit of a battle there, and then we've got a little bit of a gap back to Pierce. So yeah,
they're sort of very stretched out at the moment. We're sort of almost not used to seeing this. It's more of a traditional race almost, with the gapping that's going on in these early stages. So we'll have to see how this one plays out. Justin Witcher's got Craig Roffey all over the back of him, and Witcher is looking a bit like a cork in the bottle at the moment. He's got a lot of cars caught up behind him and a fairly hefty gap up to Ross Cheetham in 11th. So Justin Witcher is keeping a lot of cars behind him, but look at the pinnacle cars starting to line up. You've got Patton and Jaeger now, so starting to get up close to Justin Witcher, and I wonder if these guys are the ones that are just doing a little bit of fuel saving, not pushing as hard as the front runners, because they want to try and get a little bit longer in this race.
Yeah, definitely could look that way, but I think Justin may have just been coming back to his teammates too, so they can join up early. And we've seen the force that they can be when they are together.
Very much so. As we're three wide, Craig Roffey in the middle at the moment as they come across the line. And great racing back here. Christopher Tomlin up in the 2-1-2, battling up on the high side at the moment. And they're looking to go three wide here as well. It's Roffey, Witcher and Tomlin free wide, and they do the double overtake. Witcher loses out. Piggy in the middle falls back one position.
Yeah, just back up the front, Carl. That gap now is down to 0.3 of a second. So the front is starting to heat up. Still Barry Neal, Nicholas Welch and Kay Donnelly. But the gap back to Phelps has also come down now, just over that second mark. So this front battle will be starting to heat up any time now.
Yeah, but I think we'll try and keep an eye on the front, but this is the battle we want to be looking at the moment, this mid pack, because it's absolute crazy stuff. This is the normal action resuming here of 2-3 wide here at Nashville Super-speedway. You can see just the pack racing going on. These guys are all over the place at the moment. This stretches from Christopher Tomlin in 13th, well, actually Kobe Jordan in 12th. Actually, Kobe's just worked his way up there. As all around goes somebody in the background. Who was that spinning? It was Joseph Grenshaw, I think. Let's see if we can catch the replay here. And the caution flag is out, I think.
Yep, caution is out.
And around goes Grenshaw, and let's just go back again, see if we can catch that with a better camera view. It wasn't actually Grenshaw in that one. It was it was the number 90 there of Nigel Patton getting tagged around and into Pete Morris. Big damage for those two cars. Pete Morris was the really unlucky recipient there, so only the two cars really getting caught in that one. But that has brought the first caution flag of the night out on lap number 12.
Yeah, definitely. Pete was the unlucky one there, in innocent party, and we can see how much damage he got. But also Patton, unfortunate to get hit from both front and rear, and everyone is in pit lane.
That's it. Pit lane is about to get very, very busy here. As we can see, the Sandstorm, Christopher Tomlin sticking out, sorry. So one car deciding to stick it out on track while everybody else is coming into pit lane. Let's bring up the pit box ticker.
I think that was Malone in the 4 car that has missed his pit box and had to reverse. Yeah, Adam Malone missed his pit box, drove halfway through the pit box in front and had to reverse up. So
I wonder if we could go back and just look at Raymond Yeager, because it does not look like he stopped in his pit box. Maybe Jai Schultz Jai Schultz started from pit lane, I think. So I think he started from pit lane, so he stayed out. But I think Raymond Yeager's come down pit lane and missed his pit box.
I'm just checking on that now for you.
So Yeager coming in again now, so I'm guessing he missed the box last time round because it did not look like it stopped.
Yeah, no, he went to go into a pit bay, but he definitely picked the wrong one.
Oh, disastrous there for Yeager. That's going to be at least... it's not as costly as it could have been, of course. If it was under green, that would have been a much more painful stop. But that means he has to come in again and get that pit stop finally done. It will give a few drivers a chance to get some repairs done. So a few people will be able to get to repair. But up the front, it's this man, Christopher Tomlin, who stayed out with Philip Marsh and Jai Schultz. So just the 3 cars sticking it out there. And they are going to see what they can do now with slightly less fuel. They're going to take a bit of a risk here and save a little bit of fuel under pace car and see what they can do. Of course, you only get the 1 set of tyres for the race, so I doubt anybody will have changed their tyres in that pit stop. It would have just been for fuel only.
I didn't see anyone go up on the jacks for tyres. It was just up on the jacks for fuel. So definitely no one took tyres, mate.
Yeah, the times suggest it. Just a few repairs and things like that, obviously. And luckily, you know, it's very easy to forget to click the box, though, isn't it, Mark, and accidentally get too many tyres.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I've done that plenty of times too in the NASCAR scene. Come into pit lane and forget to unclick your tyres or click tyres, and you come in and get fuel, and the tyres don't go on the car.
Yep, it's a very easy mistake to make, and it can be costly in this series. So looks like everybody has remembered to not click on tyres, so that's a good job from everybody. Pace car is going to come in shortly, so we are going to be going back to live racing here for Season 6 of the My Private Sellers Australasian Supercar eSeries here on Performance eStreaming. So let's see how the 444 and the 212 Philip Marsh and Christopher Tomlin do on this restart. Obviously, want to get away nice and clean here, and this could be a masterstroke of getting track position. Jai Schultz up there as well. We know how he is on alternate strategies, so let's see how this one plays off as they are coming to the line. And we're about to see the green flag drop here on lap 16 of 152.
Great start there by Tomlin.
Away like a scolded dog. He's absolutely got a leap on the cars as they are coming into turn 1 and 2. And everybody looks to have made it through relatively safely. Gotta love the sound of these things as they roar past the cameras, of course, as it gives a great show. And we are back, and it's Jai Schultz who's moved up into the lead of the race now. with Ruben Phelps and Christopher Tomlin. Philip Marsh just falling back into P4 at the moment, and then Dwayne Priest is leading the charge, and I imagine it won't be long until we see the Sim Boys linking up. Adam Malone is currently the odd man out in that group, because Nicholas Walsh, Cade Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Aaron Dillon, Chris Finley, Todd Maxfield are all in a line. So the Sim Boys have got all their cars in the right position at the moment.
Sorry, Carl. Ruben Phelps is making a move underneath Tomlin for the race lead.
Nice little drive there from Phelps. Real close side-by-side action here. Great racing we're seeing on track. And can Ruben pull out a little bit here and get the lead of the race? He does indeed. And that's good news for Phelps. Tomlin, though, not letting it sit. Tries the up and under. Gets a little bit loose across the tri-oval. Great job saving it. That just meant Ruben just has a little lift off. He's gone up the high line. Ruben's running a much higher line than everybody else, it seems. And Tomlin has just absolutely launched away. Look at the leap he's just got over Ruben Phelps.
And that's also allowed Joy Schultz back up in the second place there with Ruben. And look at that angry pack behind Ruben.
Yeah, real big load of those of the Sim Boys now, all over the place. It's wherever you look, there's a Sim Boy up the front of the field. Adam Malone feeling a little bit lonely in the middle of that pack, and Ruben Phelps looking at the gasping maw of the Sim Boys coming to chew him up.
Yeah, definitely not a good view out of his review mirror and side mirrors.
Tomlin getting away very well here, building up a nice lead. 1.5 seconds over Dwayne Priest here in second. And this is giving Tomlin a chance to run away a little bit here and get a nice bit of a gap. And this could be the opportunity that he wants, of course, because he's on a little bit less fuel, so he's a little bit lighter as well. But he's pulling away from this group very quickly.
Yeah, as you said, it's already out to 1.5 seconds over second place. So now it clicks over to 1.6 seconds. So he is increasing that gap ever so slightly every lap that he does. He stays out in front. But he's got to be careful too, Carl. Is that he'll burn a lot of fuel through this, where we've seen a lot of guys come down pit lane. So those guys may be able to split this race in two, where at the moment Tomlin and Josh Schultz, I believe, are still stuck on that 3-stop strategy.
Yeah, it's got to do a lot of saving, I think, to get it half, to split it on just 2 more stops. But it's going to be, that little bit of extra fuel gives you much more wiggle room, and if a caution comes out, it gives you the opportunity to come down pit lane, of course, and get a cheap pit stop. Whereas Tomlin and Jai Schultz will be really, really stuck. They're going to have to pit a lot sooner, so they can't leave it out as long, and that could really hurt them in this race.
Yeah, it also looks like Philip Marsh didn't come down pit lane that last caution either, so he's not showing any time in pit lane at the moment.
No, Philip Marsh stayed out as well, so he was one of the other cars in 444. But he's dropped down a little bit. He's now in 22nd spot now, a little bit further down the field, so he didn't quite make up the track position he wanted to on that restart, and he has got sort of fallen back a little bit, so maybe that risk, that gamble did not pay off for him.
No, but it's definitely worked for Tomlin at the moment. Still a 1.5 second over second place Dwayne Priest.
So Jai Schultz dropping down the order as well. He's dropped down to 13th position. He's got Ross Cheatham all over the side of him at the moment in the Rogue Sim Sports entry. And Craig Roffey there as well with Kim Roffey. So the Rogue Sim Sport guys linking up very well here too. That could be a good position for them to be in.
Yeah, definitely. But if we do happen to start to see green flag stops, Carl, what these guys have to be careful of is coming off that cement on the asphalt, then coming back on the cement in pit lane.
Yeah, it's a unique surface run, this place, because there's not really many fast tracks that are concrete on the racing line, and then with the pit lane being asphalt, it really does make it quite a tricky situation to go from the sort of low grip racetrack almost, well, high grip concrete racetrack, but very different feel and grip onto that asphalt, which really does stick the car a lot more, and it can really throw you out and cause you issues, especially with braking as well. Braking, I find the hardest thing to do here at Nashville.
Yeah, even with NASCAR brakes and everything, they're very different. And these guys would come under the same type of issues where the brakes will cool out unless they're dragging the brake. So if I was running this car tonight, you know when you're going to come into pit lane, so I'd be dragging those brakes just ever so slightly around the turns, just to get some heat in that brake caliper and brake pistons and everything to be able to pull that car up.
Just a bit of a replay here. Philip Marsh, I think he may be just coming into pit lane. Oh, he's had a bit of a slap on the side, I think. Let's go back a little bit, see if we can find exactly what's happened here for Marsh. So I think he's had a big slam on the wall. We may have missed that one, actually. But yeah, it looks like he's had a big slap on the wall, and the wheels are not pointing in the right direction for that car. That thing is looking a little bit second-hand, so big damage there for Philip Marsh, and unfortunately that might be his race a little bit done.
Slightly used car for sale, only used on Sundays.
Minor scratch on the side, one careful owner. One careful old Christian woman owner, of course, you know, as is always the way. Christopher Tomlin, though, has done a really good job on this restart, leading away. The gap is closing to Kay Donnelly now, but he's still got just over half a second, so he's done a great job on this restart. But Kate is closing the gap, and you can see just how quickly he is closing in.
Some impressive paint schemes out there this season. A few guys have changed their paints, but a lot of them have kept the same. So it's made it a little bit easier for us, Carl, when they don't change paints.
Yeah, I like it when we keep the same paints through the series. It makes our jobs a lot easier, as Kay Donnelly now just makes the move, and Christopher Tomlin gets up into P1, and now the rest of the Simboy zombie horde is coming to swallow up the lead, I'd say.
I'm sure that team grows every week.
There's always a new Simboy whenever you look. It's whenever I'm racing and I find I get passed by one Simboy, I just find 100 more appearing. But it's great to see the Tassie team having a great run. The hot toddy heating installations on them, of course, and the United Electrical Solutions. Great to have those sponsors on board with the Australasian Supercar eSeries, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's great to see so many sponsors of this series really come on board and put their support behind it. I know I've got a few bottles of wine through between the off season, and great delivery service and really friendly guys from my private sellers.
Great stuff indeed, and you know, great at helping you find storage solutions for that wine as well. You know, giving you some good storage options, which is also useful. I actually have a vat of wine a glass of wine myself at the moment that I won recently, so I might have to look at a storage solution for it all.
Oh, you just need a big cellar, mate. I don't know if they do cellars with your mead and everything that you have there.
And Barry Neal's starting to close up the gap now as well. He's starting to work his way back up towards the leaders, and this car is on the move at the moment. We saw Barry Neal leading a few laps at the beginning. We know that car is quick, and we know Barry Neal is quick. He's lost a few positions in the pit lane, but he's now catching right up to this group of cars.
The boys are closing down that gap, but it's still just under half a second. So Christopher Tomlin is doing a great job. Now it closes right up to 0.2 of a second, and we'll see these guys have another run at Tomlin very shortly.
Yeah, Tomlin's doing a great job of keeping out front. When we last sort of looked at him, it looks like Tomlin was dropping back a little bit, but now he's managed to get right back up there again, back into the lead. And he's using that high line as well. He's taking advantage of that slightly higher line, which will be a little bit easier on the tyres, of course. You don't have to turn the wheel as much. Tends to be a little bit softer on the tyres, a little bit more risk of touching the wall sometimes, but it gives you a lot less tyre wear running up that high, where we see Nicholas Walsh now running that low line, really putting the pressure on Tomlin, but he's not able to make it work currently.
No, definitely not. I know Christopher Tomlin would like to follow on from last night's great positional racing with the Warriors. He come home third, I believe it was, Carl. I can't remember. But he'll be looking to have another great run tonight.
Yeah, it'd be great to see him up on the podium, or even better, with the W next to his name. I'm sure he'd be very happy with that one. Getting the chance to get the Inside Lane Productions car up into victory lane. Meanwhile, Sim Boys are racing as hard as ever. They might be teammates, but they race very hard, and Barry Neal coming up very quickly to try and take the position. Let's jump on board with Barry Neal, get a bit of a bird's eye view from this car.
He's definitely done well to get back up in this top 5, top 6 from when he dropped back. So he's definitely on the move.
He is indeed. He's really putting the pressure on at the moment, and doing a great job trying to get up towards the front here of these cars. And you can see just how quickly he's getting up towards this group of cars up the front. Ooh, a little bit of a blink there for Barry. So that's okay. It's working again now, which is important.
Look, I'm gonna have to throw my support behind Joseph Brenshaw, because he's the highest placed Commodore at the moment. There's not many Commodores in this field. They're just about all those funny horse things.
There's no Toyotas, so I don't have anyone to bet on. No, it's a shame to see the Commodore vanishing from motorsport, and not as popular as it once was out here in the supercars. But the Mustang is doing a good job of bolting away at the moment.
Yeah, Tomlin's got that, or not Tomlin now. Sorry, Gary Willman is out in front, and but Tomlin is definitely giving him the hurry up too.
Yeah, he's really putting the pressure on, and look, we've got a lot of action going on the track at the moment, but as always, we're being delighted by a glut of it, so we're keeping up the front because that's where a lot of the action is happening. Some really good racing going on as they're 3 wide. Tomlin on the high side, Barry Neal in the middle, and Dwayne Priest on the low side. 3 wide action here tonight at Nashville Super-speedway.
Yep, Tomlin's staying right up there on that high line. As you said earlier, Carl, that'll be looking after his tyres a little bit. So he may be able to stretch that tyre life a little bit. But we've got to remember too, he's not been down pit lane and taken any fuel. So he will be pitting within the next 10 laps, 10 to 15 laps, I'd say, where these other boys can stay out there a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's it. He will be needing to come down pit lane in about 10 laps time, and he's been leading a lot of that as well, so there's not much fuel saving you can do when you're leading the pack. You're on full throttle a lot of the time, and that's going to chew up that fuel very, very quickly. Looking back a little bit further down the field, and just as you mentioned, Joseph Brenshaw, the highest placed Commodore at the moment, having a solid run in the iDrive Sim training car. Very pretty paint colour on there of the 064. He's currently battling with Raymond Yeager, who's managed to work his way up the pack up into P13 now, after that mistake down pit lane, but he's got the pace to work his way right back up the top.
And just up front again, Carl, we now have Barry Neal back out in the lead, and they are catching some slower cars.
Yeah, traffic will come into play, of course. Traffic is a factor in this style of racing. And, well, you can see just how broken up the packs are. Let's jump to the start-finish line. That's the leaders just passing now. And then the next pack to come along will be Kobe Jordan, I think. And, no, Raymond and Grainshaw. And then this is the rest of the field. But it's so very spread out at the moment that we're really not seeing everybody close, like nose to tail. Comes the leaders again.
Yeah, and there's the back two cars, and then the leaders are coming through. So it won't be long before Barry and that group there catch those two back markers. And I'm just going to see if I can find out who that is. That's Peter Matheson and Matt Patton. So they are very close to being going a lap down.
Yeah, they're going to be keeping their eyes up on this big train of cars, of course. It doesn't look like the pack racing. It's still pack racing, of course, but it's not as effective as we've seen at some other tracks here at Nashville. You know, you're sort of finding you can work with a couple of cars and still get some good speed. So it's not as crucial to stay in one big line here, but when you do fall off the tail of the leaders, you fall off quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I've just jumped back to Christopher Tomlin, mate. He's dropped down to 12, and he is actually starting to lose that lead pack.
Yeah, he's just fallen behind Adam Malone and Kobe Jordan. Kobe's teammate's just up there, just sitting in P9 at the moment, working his way through the field a little bit. And there's Christopher Tomlin. I think Christopher Tomlin might be going down pit lane in the very near future. I think he's sort of just dropping off a bit, just trying to save a little bit of fuel here. But he's going to have to start thinking about coming down pit lane in the very near future to get a top up on his tank.
Yeah, well, he's now on lap 51 of this stint. So if our little spies are being correct, he's only got about 4 laps left in that tank, because of leading those laps, so many laps.
Yeah, that's it. We'll try and keep an eye and see when he decides to pull it down pit lane, and hopefully, look, it could work out still if it remains green. We still have 100 laps of tonight's race. It is season 6 of the My Private Sellers Australasian Supercar eSeries here on Performance E-Streaming.
Yeah, and I'm just going to give a shout out to Witcher Electrical. If anyone's in the Bendigo area and you need any electrical work done, get in touch with Justin Witcher Electrical, because he will look after you, and he does everything from commercial right through to changing a house light bulb for you.
Great stuff, and supporting the people that support us to go racing is a great thing to do. And it's all part of the community, really. And it's great when we can absolutely show our support to the sponsors who help us keep this series running and keep this great racing going. Ross Cheatham at the moment is getting passed by Matty Ray, who's on the charge up now. He started way down the order and he's starting to work his way through the field now.
Just keeping an eye on Christopher Tomlin. He's stayed out there, and he's now just starting lap 55.
Of course, he will have got a little bit of extra mileage with the caution coming into play. Matt Patton, though, is coming in for Pinnacle Esports. Oh, and he loops it on the entry to pit lane. Does he save it? Will this bring out a caution? No, he just managed to take a toe in time and save that from becoming a caution. Big mistake there from Matt Patton. Just on board here of that car. And he's just got on that grass, just on the infield section. And around she goes. It's as easy as that to make a mistake like that.
Tomlin has definitely been able to save some fuel because he's now on the start of lap 57. So I'll keep keeping an eye on it, mate. And he's come down. He was running mid-track, so he must be getting close to thinking about it as he moves back up track.
I reckon he's going to come in this or the next lap. That's my prediction. Let's see if he can make a liar out of us.
But by the looks of it, these boys are using the long pit straight pit entry, which is around in turn 3.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. And look, it's crucial in green flag stops to hit your marks and hit the pit lane as fast as you can. And you want to carry as much speed through there, but you can't afford to make a mistake either because you lose so much time in a green flag stop. On its own, you lose time. And, you know, if you make a mistake, it's even
Sorry,
worse.
mate. Sorry, Tomlin's
pitting.
in. Yep, Tomlin is in. So 58 laps.
There we go. We'll keep our eye on Tomlin as he's coming down the lane. And I imagine we're going to see a few more people coming in the near future as well. Jai Schultz should be looking to come for his service.
And he's missed his box.
Missed the box there. That's a painful thing to happen. That's not what you want to do on a green flag stop. And Jai is managing to go a little bit longer in this stint. Meanwhile, leaders are catching up to... I can't quite see who that is.
Sorry, mate. Tomlin's been there for a long time in his pit box, 26.4 seconds. So I'm just wondering if you got a short hold penalty.
Okay. Darren McKenzie they've caught up to. Okay. So Darren McKenzie just fallen down a lap, and that's not what we expect to see from McKenzie. We know that he's a very quick driver, so obviously he's just fallen off the back of these packs and really fallen off in time.
But if we do see a caution, Darren will be in the lucky dogs position. So that is one good thing for him.
So Tomlin 32 seconds stationary. So that's a full tank of just about a full tank of fuel. Because remember, these things take fuel a lot slower than a NASCAR, Mark.
That's right. You're dead right there.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder. Yeah. So yeah, not about on average for pit stop time there. So I don't think he took tyres. So I think he's just taking fuel on board.
And that's unfortunate because that's put him down 2 laps down.
That's it. So he will be now hoping that it remains green, so he can get those laps back because he wants everybody else to take a pit stop. Especially this big lead pack that's currently being led by Barry Neal. Gary Wellman in second with Kay Donnelly in third. Fourth is Dwayne Priest and fifth is Nicholas Walsh at the moment. But if these guys get a caution coming out, they are going to be very, very pleased because they'll be able to get a cheap pit stop.
But Jai Schultz is still the only one that is going a non-pit stop, and he's done 63 laps.
Yeah, I'd say he's been fuel saving because he's not really been on the pace of some of those other guys. So I imagine he's been really nursing the fuel up to this point. So that tells us, you know, I reckon maybe about 65 laps he'll go. Remember, when you're running under pace car conditions, when you're running under caution, you can save a lot more fuel as well. But remember, he fell down the field quite quickly. He was really looking to keep that car out as long as possible. So I think he's really doing a big job on the fuel save. But it has cost him an awful lot of time.
Definitely has.
As we are looking through the field a little bit more. P12, Ruben Phelps at the moment. In a bit of a lonely race as he's chugging along. Mick Rush as well. He's sort of been in a lonely position for a long time. He's been off the back of the top 10 and just sort of in no man's land, but having a very solid drive in P11 at the moment, but just a bit of a lonely one, as Barry Neal is still our race leader.
And that gap hasn't really gotten any bigger or any smaller. So from second place, Gary Wellman. So that's one good thing. Gary's just holding in there and keeping Barry honest.
Yeah, keeping him in a good spot. And just looking at Barry Neal, I think he popped down the lane at the end of that last caution as well and just chucked an extra couple of seconds of fuel in the tank.
So, sorry mate, Joy is in pit lane. 66 laps on that tank.
Okay. So that is a monster stint there from Jai Schultz, who's just going to be popping into his box now. And I imagine it's going to be stationary for quite a long time, getting a nice big gulp of go juice in that car. So Jai Schultz in pit lane. It's going to drop him down a few positions as well. But it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in regards to Christopher Tomlin, of course. So we'll sort of get an idea of how much time he's going to lose and how much time Tomlin's going to gain after all of these pit stops.
Joy's on his way out now. He has lost 2 laps.
Okay. So, just hearing up in chat from one of our in-race reporters, Miss Sarah Kay Yesberg, Christopher Tomlin had, on good authority, had a meatball flag shown to him. I wonder if he blew a tyre.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of, because I didn't see any damage on the car, so that's the only thing I could think of that would have caused that. Would be a meatball flag, would be a tyre puncture. So interesting there, if that's the case, because other drivers are going to have to be cautious now, because if they push too hard, they could easily blow a tyre.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works now, because that is left Christopher Tomlin on a big stint on this set of tyres, and he's really going to have to be careful that it doesn't happen to him again.
And it was a tyre. Thank you very much, Sarah. Always appreciated. That's a huge stint he's going to have to do. Meanwhile, up the front, the battle is getting very heated as we're coming up on some lapped cars as well. Barry Neal trying to defend from Gary Wellman now, and we've got a whole mix of different cars on track. This is where it's going to get very spicy and where we could easily see some disaster happening. But yeah, these drivers are going to have to be super cautious with a tyre going. It's very easy to see other people's tyres blow, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Just bring up the conditions again, Carl, and see if it's changed at all.
29 degrees track temperature, 27 degrees air temperature, so it's not too much different from the start of the race, in all honesty. But remember, concrete is a lot rougher on tyres.
Oh, mate, I just think I heard Barry call his pitting. So yes, Barry Neal is in pit lane this time by.
Okay, so leader of the race coming into pit lane. Keep our eye on him, just seeing how he goes making the stop here. So this is crucial for Barry Neal. He took on some extra fuel as well, so I'm surprised to see him being one of the first of the leaders to come in. He's obviously been pushing hard, getting that car to this point. And I wonder if he's going to start taking tyres at this position as well, because you know, it's sort of at half race distance, about the time where you want to take tyres, and it could make a big difference.
Well, see, I'm just wondering if some of these other teams have got little spies in the watching the broadcast and heard the news about Tomlin, so they are going to start jumping in. Andy Barber's going to come in this time, right?
Okay, so we're going to have a glut of cars coming in the lane in the near future. I think Andy Barber had just fallen down a lap as well, so he had just fallen down a lap, unfortunately. So yeah, it's been a relentless pace up the front of the field, and with tyres starting to go, you've got to be so careful. We did a Gen 4 race just before this one, and my tyre went just on pit entry. I was very lucky for that to happen. If it goes on pit entry, it's not too bad, but if it happens on the track, it's very bad as well. As we see Nicholas Walsh, Kate Donnelly, Gary Wellman in pit lane.
I was just going to say, Carl, race leaders in, Gary Wellman.
So that's going to lead Dwayne Priest out there. Let's quickly try and get a bit of a look-see at Gary Wellman coming in the 45, and hopefully everybody makes a nice clean stop here. Hits his marks perfectly. There's Dwayne Priest coming around now. He's taking the lead in the 777. And we've got a whole glut of cars coming into pit lane as well. Oh, as Dwayne Priest does not have the entry he wants there. Let's just quickly see if we can catch the replay on that one. Exactly what we were talking about before, Mark. Pit entry is perilous. He's gone wide, he's got on the grass, and round she goes.
And he will get a penalty for that because it is after
Peter
the cone.
Peter Madison's just had a worse one. I think Dwayne actually made it before he got to the cone. So I think he just did it before the cone. Peter Madison, however, did not get as lucky. He didn't spin it, but he went after the cone.
So Wellman and Co are back out on the race surface. So that gives Kobe Jordan the race lead at the moment.
Does indeed. The 080 is going to be leading the race, and I'm sure Sarah's going to be cheering that one on. I'm very happy to see the Inside Lane production car up in the lead of the race. And he's been having a steady pace, Kobe Jordan, so he's sitting in a good position at the moment. And I'm sure he'll be looking at coming in pit lane in the very near future.
The other one I'll be interested in is Nutt and Ruben's in pit lane now. So I was just going to say, I'm just wondering if Ruben's going to make that little fatal boo-boo that he made last season and run out of fuel. Push it just that one lap too many.
Kobe Jordan coming in this time round. Justin Witcher will be out on track to take the lead. No, he's coming in as well. So that's everybody serving their pit stops. Kobe Jordan makes pit lane perfectly there. And former champion Justin Witcher there, the Witcher Electric sponsored Pinnacle car, coming in now to take his pit stop. As we get back to racing.
That should give Barry Neal the race lead again.
It does indeed. And it is Barry Neal into the lead of the race once more, with a fairly hefty gap as well over Kay Donnelly. So he's got a fairly nice gap at the moment, about 8 seconds. So Barry Neal has built up a huge gap in those pit stops. Barry Neal was only stationary for about 27 seconds in his pit stop. So if we bring up the box times here, you can just see the pit staying box times. So Barry Neal, one of the fastest there with 27 seconds. And yeah, that's made a big difference to his lead of the race. And you can just see in the actual pit lane time, Barry Neal 54 seconds. One of the fastest drivers out there. Raymond Yeager's made huge gains as well, up into 5th position again, having a very fast pit stop.
I'm just wondering, surely Barry took tyres that time round. I'm just wondering if Barry didn't take tyres.
Not sure, I'm afraid, Mark, because I can't remember exactly how long it takes to change all 4. So
yeah, neither can I. I think I might have to go do some laps this week and just refresh ourselves with how long it takes to take tyres and fuel.
Yeah. Well, he's sitting pretty comfortable at the moment, Barry Neal. So even if he didn't take tyres, he's setting some good lap times. And look, by the speed he's got out there, you'd have to say he probably looked at some fresh boots, because he's still setting some great pace. And I imagine if you didn't take tyres, you'd be fairly low down on the lap times at the moment.
Yeah, you would imagine so. That you'd be, and also dropping down the field a fair bit too. Like that gap of 8 seconds would get eaten up fairly quick.
Yeah, that gap is not closing. It's actually growing as it goes on. Kay Donnelly, Gary Wellman, and those two have got a little bit of a gap over Raymond Yeager. So it's really split the field up here. Nicholas Walsh catching on Yeager now as well. And Kobe Jordan's back out on track, and he's up in P11 at the moment, battling with Adam Malone. So worked out pretty well for those guys.
Yeah, it'd be good to see Kobe up into the top 10 at the end of this. I think he'll walk away reasonably happy, and I know he's #1 fan to be happy with a top 10 for him, but would also like to see him in that on that podium.
Yeah, having a good run at the moment, and Ruben Phelps chasing down Nicholas Walsh up in this battle for 5th and 6th at the moment. So a few battles going on track, but it's been a fairly quiet evening. I mean, we've had some really good racing on track, but everybody's been very well behaved tonight. We've not seen much door banging, we've not seen much paint swapping, and importantly, we've not seen those cautions. We've only had the one caution so far tonight. So only for 3 laps under caution. 18 lead changes though, so it's been, it's been its usual chaotic self in that respect. But without those cautions, it's really broken the field up.
Yeah, sometimes you hope for a caution, even as a driver. You hope for that caution so you can close those gaps. But it's just not happening tonight.
Yeah, well, we love to see races running out in proper style. So without cautions, we're always happy with that. The man that's going to be pretty happy with this one as well is Maddie Ray, who we've got on screen at the moment. Started 26th position. He's currently up 8th position at the moment. So he's had a decent run, 18 positions through the field. So he's really had a good run up through the grid.
Yeah, Maddie's one of those people that's taken to this car like a duck's take to water. He only started midway through last season, and he had some great results towards the end of the season, and he's starting this season 6 off the same way he finished season 5.
That's it, and he's a proud Holden driver as well, Mark, so even better news for yourself.
Yeah. I think I had my wires crossed a little bit, because I'm a Holden fan or Chev fan, but my favourite car is the old Shelby Mustang. So something's gone wrong there.
Yes. Yeah, well, we're petrol heads. We're allowed to have mixed emotions for cars.
I was waiting for the 19 something or 18 something Ford off you.
No, my favourite car is the AC Acer, of course, before it got spoilt by the Americans, chucking in a too large engine, destroying the beautiful handling of that lovely straight 6. Damn Shelby.
I was more expecting the MG for you.
Oh no, I don't have a small moustache. I don't have a small amount of facial hair, so I can't go for an MG.
You don't like cucumber sandwiches either?
Oh, I don't mind them. No. Sunbeam Tiger actually is one of my favourites. So, beautiful little sports car, beautiful little English sports car. but as is that one. Nicholas Walsh coming in pit lane. So we're getting some more stops happening relatively soon after the last round of stops. So I imagine people are coming in for their final stop now because they can get to the end from here. So we're starting to see those final pit stops happening. And yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on pit lane because we're going to see more and more cars just jutting in. So those cars that short field, so people like Barry Neal, he was quite quick through pit lane, they'll be coming in relatively soon to get a top up to the end of this race.
Yeah, would expect any time now for him to come down. He's still got an 8-second lead over Gary Willman and a further 8 seconds back to Kay Donnelly. The man at the moment, though, is Raymond Jagger. He's now up in the 4th.
Another driver that's had a huge run tonight. He's starting down in 21st position. He's having a great run through the field. As we expect from the reigning champion, Mr. Jaeger, he is very good on the oval side of things, and he is very good in these V8s as well, and he's doing a really good job at the moment in keeping that car up in the running. As I said, he was relatively quick down pit lane, so I imagine he's going to be needing to pit very, very shortly to take on that final load of fuel. But it's you know, if you can go longer in this stint, it means less fuel you need to take to the end, which will mean a quicker run through pit lane.
Yeah, definitely. And at the moment, Carl, we've still got 9 cars on the lead lap, so that's not bad either. Craig Rocky, should there be a caution, will be the lucky dog at the moment.
Yeah, Craig Roffey in the Rogue car, down in 10th position. So, as I said, it's been relentless pace tonight, and one of the main reasons for that is Barry Neal, who's been absolutely flying. You can see him there. He's got a couple of Simboys cars around him, but they're not the ones fighting for the lead. He's got Chris
Finley.
Yeah. Finley there, and Dwayne Priest close by, and he's just flying out at the moment. Gary Wellman is the Simboy that wants to chase him down at the moment, though.
Well, that gap has come down just on the 7.5 second gap now, so he is closing ever so slightly.
Oh,
and Barry Neal's in
coming
pit
into
lane.
pit lane.
We'll see if we can... Gary Wellman has stayed out.
Not too much of a surprise this, because we did say he was quick down pit lane last time. He short fielded it a little bit just to get a bit of a jump, so now he's going to have to be stationary for a long time, getting 52 laps worth of fuel on board. So he's going to have to take a big lump of fuel on board here, and that's going to be a long time in pit lane stationary. So Gary Wellman now is the new leader of the race. I think Kay Donnelly's coming into pit lane as well. So Donnelly and Wellman coming down pit lane. So Raymond Jaeger now will take the lead of the race.
And Barry Neal's on his way out.
So Barry Neal stationed for about 21 seconds. So taking on the fuel he needs to get home. Now, what these guys do not want to see is a caution in the near future, because they've dropped down a lap here. That could be absolutely dire for them if they get caught out by a caution. A few guys could have their race made for them if a caution flag does come out. Currently got Raymond Jaeger in at the lead with Ruben Phelps there in P2 in the SRM car, with Justin Witcher just behind him in the Rich Electrics car, with Maddie Ray coming up in 4th position, and Kobe Jordan back in the top 5. And you were saying before about Craig Roffey being the first car a lap down. Well, he's got his lap back now. He's back on the lead lap. Won't be long until Jaeger starts closing in on him a little bit. But Craig Roffey sitting in 6th position. Andy Barber, they're just losing his lap now in P7. So it's Raymond Jaeger now putting people a lap down and charging his way forwards in the lead of this race.
Yeah, definitely don't want to see a caution coming out now, because If a caution come out right now, Andy Barber would get the lucky dog, and Barry and Kay and Gary would be caught a lap down.
Yeah, they're in a really awkward position now if a caution flag were to fly. They might be able to position themselves once everybody's done their pit stops and things like that to at least get the wave around, but they will be in an awkward position for sure. So hopefully we're going to see this running green for the next 50 laps or so. As we see, Barry Neal has just come out. He's just battling with Justin Witcher at the moment to try and get his laps back. So he's got a long way to go until he catches up to the back of Raymond Jaeger.
Matty Raymond's in pit lane.
So Matty Ray coming in as well. Imagine it won't be long for these guys to come down the road. The only car I think that's going to go longer is Kobe Jordan. I think Cobes might go a little bit longer than these guys. He was stationary in pit lane for about 30 odd seconds, so I reckon he took a nice big gulp of fuel on in the last pit stop. So he could be in a position where he could run for a fairly long time, same as Craig Rothie. So watch these guys once the rest of the leaders come down pit lane.
Ruben Phelps in.
Phelps will come in this time round. This leaves Justin Witcher and Raymond Jaeger out there as well. But Jaeger and Witcher were stationed about 20 seconds in that last cycle. So I imagine they're going to need to come down pit lane in the near future. As I say, we could see some guys staying out a bit longer, and well, if that caution flag were to fly, they would be in a prime position.
Yeah, most definitely would be. But right at the moment, Barry Neal is the third car a lap down. So Nigel Patton and Andy Barber are in front of him. So as we say that, he just passes Andy Barber. So it will be now Nigel Patton that he needs to close in on.
Justin Witcher down pit lane. So Raymond Jaeger, the final car sticking out there at the moment, in the lead ahead of Kobe Jordan and Craig Rothie. And you can see Craig Rothie still chugging along nicely, and same for Kobe Jordan. So yeah, this is going to be crucial for Barry Neal. He needs to really close up on these guys, but there's a long way to Kobe Jordan, so it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. When will Jaeger come down pit lane? Been great to see the green flag stops happening tonight. They take an enormous amount of concentration and skill to get right, because stopping these things in a green flag situation is not the easiest thing to do. And speaking of easy things to do, not easy things to do, setting up web services and websites. And if you need a bit of a hand with that, RKJ Web Services is the place to go. And Raymond Jaeger is the man to speak to about that kind of thing.
I think I might have to talk to him about our webpage.
Keep our eyes on Jaeger.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on Kobe too. He's still hanging out there, so it's good to see.
He's closing the gap to Jaeger as well, by a couple of tenths per lap, so about 20 seconds off Raymond Jaeger, so there is a fairly decent gap there. But Jaeger coming into pit lane now. As we see the car come in on the speed limiter and picking his pit stop. Pit crew will get to work on that car now, and that will mean that this man Kobe Jordan is going to take the lead of this race. And we have got Kobe Jordan back in the lead now. So having a really solid run out there at the moment. He's got an 11-second gap over Barry Neal at the moment, who will take the effective race lead once Kobe Jordan comes down pit lane. Craig Rothie, he's been in for his service. He's currently in there getting his service done. So he's going to drop down a little bit too. But, you know, if a caution flag comes out now, Kobe Jordan is sitting in the prime position.
Definitely, and he comes, and Raymond J comes out behind Kobe.
Yeah, Jager's fallen down a lap after his pit stop. So, as to be expected.
I think if I was Kobe, I'd be coming down pit lane now, taking that punishment now, and just being able to run that little bit, you know, without having to worry about it. It's a bit of a shorter field for him.
I would probably want to leave it out until it's dry at this stage, just in case that caution comes, because he's keeping a fairly decent gap over Barry Neal. He's keeping about 11.5 seconds. So he's keeping pace at the moment, but his only real chance of getting a solid result here, I think, is going to be a caution flag for this pit stop. I think he could be looking at a fairly decent top 10 finish, fairly high up in the top 10 at least, if it does remain green. But if the caution flag flies now, he's going to be in the prime position to take advantage of that. But
two different minds think two different ways.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, I think it's more of a risk leaving it out there. But I feel like it's a bit more of a
bigger gain. Should there be a...
That's it. It's a big gain, and you know, if it does remain green to the end, if he comes in later, at least it's going to be a shorter stop as well. He's going to have to take on less fuel. And so he'll be stationary for a lot less time, and he's gaining time at the moment over Barry Neal. As I said, he's keeping the gap at a solid 11.5 seconds. He's not really losing that time. So I think if he sees that time starting to drop quickly, that's when he needs to think about coming in ASAP. Nigel Patton coming in as well. So he's left it a little bit longer here. Kate Donnelly up in P2, P3 at the moment. He's right on the tail of Barry Neal. And Gary Wellman is also there. So the race win, the battle for the lead of this race is going to be really fierce, I think, when Kobe Jordan decides he's going to finally pull it in. Barry Neal is starting to close the gap a little bit here. 10.5 seconds back now. But it's still fairly solid, so we'll have to see how this one unwinds. We're on lap 120 of 152 here for the My Private Solar Australasian Supercar eSeries. And it is Kobe Jordan, our race leader at the moment for the Inside Lane production car. So Mark, just having a bit of a look through some of the other field areas, were you seeing many battles on track?
No, not really, unfortunately. Dwayne Pierce and Todd Maxwell are there together, along with Aaron Dillon. But
Todd Maxwell's putting a move on Matty Ray at the moment. Matty Raymond here, and this is battle for P13 and 14. Side-by-side action here on track, and they're catching up to Aaron Dillon as well. So this is a fairly decent little battle for track position. A little bit further down the field, but some good action going on nonetheless. A driver that will be really, I think, looking to get a caution in the near future will be this man, Christopher Tomlin. He's out there 62 laps into this stint, so I imagine he's going to have to come down lane very, very shortly. He's sitting in P10 at the moment, but he's going to have to come in for a gulp of fuel, I think, in the near future from my timing screen stats.
And all three sim boys have just got past Matty Ray too now.
Okay, so that's Maxfield, Dylan, and Dwayne Priest. He's down a bit in the positions, isn't he? He's down in 24th position. He's a couple of laps down, unfortunately. Christopher Tomlin's coming in pit lane. So that strategy did not pay off for Tomlin, unfortunately. A shame for him. But it's not looking like it's going to pay off for his run tonight. He's going to be hoping that teammate Kobe Jordan can have better luck with his fuel run. He's sticking it out for a bit longer in this stint.
And that gap's down to 9 seconds now.
Yeah, it's not falling as fast as we would have thought, though, so that's really good news for Jordan, because he's got some great pace out there tonight. We know Barry Neal is really the pace setter so far tonight. He's had some great pace in the 22. But Kobe Jordan is not really falling quickly into that gap. He's doing a great job of holding it out in the lead for as long as he has. We've currently got 8 cars on the lead lap. Aaron Dillon coming in pit lane. So another driver needs to come in for his stop to get to the end. And I think there'll be a few cars that need to do just that one last splash and dash just to get to the line. Yeah, it's I feel like we're going to see a good top 10 finish, well inside the top 10 for Kobe Jordan at this rate. Mick Rush currently sitting in P10. He's had a really solid, if not quiet night. Said before about him having a very quiet evening out there. Not really seeing too many other cars, and it's been that way pretty much all race long. Mick's sitting there in P10 at the moment. He's between Ruben Phelps in 9th and Todd Maxfield in 11th. But he's having a really solid drive tonight, up inside the top 10.
Yeah, just looking at the 444 car, Philip Marsh. He's sitting in pit lane with a meatball. So he has been there for a few laps now. So some heavy damage that we've missed out on.
That was earlier in the race, I think, Mark. We said he'd come in pit lane because we saw some damage on that car. So I think that was about 60 odd laps ago, I think. So he's got some serious damage. Joseph Grenshaw as well, another driver that's sitting in a bad spot as well. He's down 49 laps. Aaron Dillon as well in pit lane. So a few drivers not having the best of nights. We lost Matt Patton from the race and Peter Morris.
So that gap, Carl, is down to just under 7 seconds now.
Yeah, you've got to think Kobe might be looking at coming in pit lane in the very near future. He's just trying to extend it a little bit. Sorry, excuse me. But this man is on a mission tonight. Barry Neal is flying once again. He's got Kay Donnelly for company just behind him. It's not much of a gap here between those two cars, and you can see just how close it is from outside of the car. This is the real race for the lead, because Kobe's going to have to come down pit lane surely in the near future. He won't be able to make it to the end on RMAFs at least, but he's having a really solid run out there still. He's got he's still keeping the car on pace, but they are starting to close in now. 5 seconds the gap to the lead between Barry Neal and Kobe Jordan.
And Kobe's sitting on the rear bumper of Ruben Phelps, so Ruben definitely won't make it easy for him to get past, because Ruben will want to stay on that lead lap.
That's it. And while it might be beneficial for Kobe, just sit there, just use a little bit less fuel sitting behind the car there, punching a hole in the air. So that could be a nice little spot there if Kobe's trying to save a little bit of extra gas. here. We've got 20 laps remaining. So we are very quickly coming to the end of tonight's race, the round number 1 of season 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here at Nashville Super-speedway. And a solid opening salvo to this year's championship for sure.
Just seen on that last lap, Dwayne Treese really get into that outside wall really heavy. Having another look at it myself here.
Yeah, it didn't bring up any notifications on my end, so...
Yeah, very, very heavily into the turn 4 wall, and it shot him down onto the apron through the oval over the start finish. So let's hope he didn't get any damage out of that car.
No, that's
on that
it.
car.
He seems to be going along at fairly... still going along in the 777, so still setting some laps, but yeah, I imagine that thing's going to be feeling a bit worse for wear at the moment, as we're coming up to a lot of lap traffic now, and Barry Neal is coming up to it as well, and that's putting him slightly offline because Craig Donnelly is starting to put the pressure on.
I'm just wondering if Kobe may be able to pull out a rabbit out of his hat and have saved enough fuel. But geez, that's 15 laps that he's going to make.
Yeah, I don't think so, Mark. I don't think he will be able to make it to the end from here. He's done 54 laps into this stint. The biggest stint we saw was, what, 65 laps, I think?
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's doing a good job of leading, and he's led a fair few laps as well, so that's always a nice little bonus to have the most laps led as well. So he's keeping that position well, and, well, he's keeping himself up there, as meanwhile, Craig Donnelly has made the move on Barry Neal, and he's working his way up past with Gary Wellman. So Barry Neal just losing out now to those two Simboy cars, and Kay could be in a strong position here for the race when Kobe comes in to the lane.
Yeah, well, it's almost back to 4 seconds now, so the gap between Jordan and Donnelly. So it's definitely one that we're going to have to keep an eye on, Carl. But right at the moment, Kobe is up 27 spots. He started in 28th tonight, so a good drive. Even if he does not get this win tonight, he will definitely get a top 10 finish.
Right, that's it. Looking a little bit further down the order, we've got Raymond Yeager here sitting in 5th position. So he is trying to catch up, but he's got a lot of time to make up, about 15 odd seconds to try and catch up to Barry Neal. So he's looking like he's sort of in a holding pattern. He's got Nicholas Walsh for company though. Nicholas Walsh could easily make the move on him. Justin Witcher catching up to this group as well in P7. Christopher Finlay is our P8 car. And having a solid run in the top 10 tonight, with Ruben Phelps there in 9th position. The SRM cars just rounding out the top 10 at the moment, with Matty Ray sitting in P10.
It'll be a good way for those boys to start the season with both in the top 10.
You wouldn't complain about it, would you? It's a nice way to start the season, especially for teammates to get it for the team championship as well. Getting a nice haul of points there. And I imagine those two would be the nominated drivers. Don't know who's nominated in the Sim Boys camp tonight, of course, because you have to have a couple of nominated drivers. You can't just have all your teams taking it up, because otherwise Sim Boys, I think, would win it every time with their numbers. Cameron Jordan, though, doing a great job of leading. He's still got a nice big gap behind him, and he's chugging away nicely. He's 59 laps into this stint now, 60 laps now, so it's just tantalisingly close, isn't it? He just needs 10 laps. That's all he has to do. I don't think he's going to have enough fuel in the tank to make it there, so he's going to have to come in pit lane for a quick splash and dash. But if that caution flag flies, he's going to be in a prime position.
Quick, someone throw some oil on the track.
We need a streaker to run out on the track.
I ain't doing that.
No, we do want to have an audience still. Been a solid run though, and a solid drive from himself. Really driving well tonight, up in the top 10. I think Mick Rush is just coming out of pit lane, so he's managed to get some repairs done. He's coming back out on track. Meanwhile, the battle between Wellman, Donnelly and Barry Neal is still very hot stuff. These three cars are really going for it at the moment, battling away lap after lap after lap. 144 now of 152. We are very quickly getting to the end of tonight's race here for season number 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Sellers.
It's a shame for Cobes because he's probably only going to need 10 litres or so, or 15 probably at the max to get him home. And yeah, it's just so tantalising close.
Darren McKenzie coming off pit lane as well, getting a lot of notifications of people coming in and out of pit lane at the moment. So, you know, a lot of people just having to get those final little drops of fuel into the tank. And as you said, Mark, it's just tantalisingly close. I mean, you just almost want to... It's just so little fuel that you need to get there. And Kobe Jordan's finally having to pull the trigger. He's having to come into pit lane. 63 laps into that stint. A very noble run from Kobe Jordan, but he's having to come in for a quick splash and dash. And where will he come out from this one? Well, we'll find out soon. But this has led Gary Wellman back into the lead of the race, the 45, the man that was battling for the championship last year. He is going to be getting into this season full swing at the moment. He's got Kay Donnelly and Barry Neal for company up the front. These three covered by a couple of tenths of a second. And this is going to be our one to watch for the final few laps. Kobe Jordan just exiting pit lane now. Where will he come out in the rest of the field? We'll find out in a few short moments. But it's always the way, Mark, isn't it? The caution never comes when you need it.
No, it's always comes when you don't need it. I was expecting a caution to come out while Kobe was actually down pit lane, and that would have absolutely ruined his night.
Well, I think he would have actually quite liked a caution to go out while he was down pit lane. At least it would have slowed it down a little bit. But yeah, it's sort of having to pit has cost him a lot of positions. He's fallen down to P12 now. So he's just behind Jai Schultz. So he's closing on that one, but it has dropped him outside the top 10, unfortunately. Good drive nonetheless from himself tonight. He did a really good job getting up there, and if things had gone a little bit differently, if the caution flag had fallen, we would be calling it a masterstroke of strategy, but that is the trouble with gambling. It doesn't always pay off. It is paying off at the moment for this man, Gary Wellman. He's up in the lead of the race with Kay Donnelly, and Barry Neal is just falling off the back of this group now.
Probably seen the best of his tyres there, having the battle so hard to stay at the front of that pack.
Ruben Phelps making a pass on Nicholas Walsh now. Ruben Phelps moving up into P6. Nicholas Walsh is dropping back a little bit, and he could have Matty Ray to play to start assaulting him shortly. Phelps up in P6, Nicholas Walsh in 7th, 8th for Matty Ray at the moment. So some good runs there. Kobe Jordan has made it past Jai Schultz. He's now trying to catch up to Adam Malone, who's not too far off from him. And I wonder if Adam Malone's just having to do a bit of fuel saving here, while Kobe can absolutely go full pelt, because Kobe is closing that gap and he's about to get himself locked inside the top 10 at least tonight.
Yeah, it's a well-deserved result for Kobe. The other hard charger tonight that is, there's two that have been able to make it up into the top 10. Raymond Jager, he's come from 21st at the moment up to 4th, and Matty Ray from 26th up to 8th. So some great driving there by those guys.
Absolutely. Matty Ray just making the pass on Nicholas Walsh there as we were just switching over to him. He's managed to get himself locked up inside there in the P7. Meanwhile, just behind, Kobe Jordan is closing the gap on Todd Maxfield. He's absolutely flying at the moment. He could well find himself in a fairly good position tonight, well inside the top 10, maybe up in around about P7, P6. So a really good run from himself. Meanwhile, we are coming up to the line, and it's Gary Wellman taking the win here tonight. Taking the checkered flag for Sim Boys. Gary Wellman taking the flag here ahead of Kay Donnelly and Barry Neal.
So it looks like just look like Kobe has secured Ant, mate.
He has, yeah. So he was a lap down, so he could not do much more of a charge. But it's Gary Wellman taking the victory here tonight, Mark, and a really good long green flag period for the end of that race.
Yeah, definitely. Some great green flags. Everyone's done so well tonight, and it's been a solid run, and a solid green flag run too. So some great concentration from the boys tonight.
Great stuff indeed, and great stuff from this man, Gary Wellman, taking his victory here tonight, taking the checkered flag, and doing his well-deserved victory donuts here. So let us run through the results, Mark. I'll let you take it away.
Yep, so the winner tonight, Gary Wellman. Kay Donnelly, second. Barry Neal, third. Raymond Jagger into fourth. Justin Witcher into sixth. Ruben Phelps into sixth. Seventh, Matty Ray. So great run there. So three different teams in the top six there, Carl. So that's a great result for those boys. Nicholas Walsh in eighth, Todd Maxfield in ninth, and a great run there, as we've mentioned, by Kobe Jordan in the 10th. Adam Malone in 11th, Craig Roffey in 12th, Guy Schultz in the 13th, Tim Roffey in the 14th, Andy Barber in the 15th, Chris Finlay into 16th, Nigel Patton in the 17th, 18th home was Ross Cheatham, 19th June Priest, 20th Peter Matheson, 21st Christopher Tomlin, Darren McKenzie 22nd, Mick Rush 23rd, Aaron Dillon 24th, 25th Joseph Grimshaw, Philip Marsh in 26th, Matt Patton 27th, and Peter Morris 28th, and Philip Howe into 29th. So some unlucky guys there, losing them early in the race, but nevertheless, they've got to be very happy for those top 10 drivers.
No, absolutely. A really solid run from everybody. Seeing such a long green flag stint here tonight was great stuff indeed. And a great run home as well. Not much separating the top two. Gary Wellman just taking the victory by 0.068 of a second over Kay Donnelly. Barry Neal coming home in third. Let's just see if we can catch that finish just one last time. Just missing out. But yeah, just crossing the line. It was a good run from Gary Wellman and Kay Donnelly. Really close stuff. And look, great run by the Sim Boys. Always fun to see those guys racing so hard. But it was Gary Wellman with the victory here tonight. So, what we might do, Mark, don't know if you can see if the drivers are getting into position and getting themselves into the room, getting ready to get chatted to, Mark.
we've got Gary Willman there, but I don't know who the second driver is that's jumped in there because he's not running the correct name, his real name. So I don't know who he is.
So let me know once they've come through. But a good race there in the end, as I say, really good results from everybody. And yeah, some strong drives from the field getting themselves up through the race tonight. And like I said, it was great to see a long green flag stint like that. We've not seen that for a while in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and we love the green flag running.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say we have Kate Donnelly and Gary Willman there. So we'll see no sign of Barry Neal yet. So we will go ahead and skip Barry and move on to our second place getter, which I hope is right. Kay Donnelly, welcome to the booth, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Mate, got to be happy with that. A second place, a nice close finish with your teammate there for the race win.
Yeah, we sort of worked it that we'd try and cross the line pretty close, but I sort of said to Gaz, you take the chocolates, mate.
Always nice to let your teammate get a win, mate. Any problems with tyres tonight? We seen one driver out there go for a long stint and end up blowing a tyre tonight.
Yeah, look, I think if you just went out and punished them, you'd be in trouble. But I'm just trying to just sort of roll in a bit of break, like trying to look after them a little bit, but still trying to hold some pace, So I think that last stint, we sort of punished them pretty hard, but we were sort of right,
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, you've got to be happy with second place. Great way to start season 6. A 1-2 for the team.
Yeah, no, stoked, mate.
And also, we were trying to guess who would be your nominated team drivers tonight. We're hoping for your sake it was you and Gary in the team.
Nah, not me tonight, mate.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, mate, again, congratulations on second place. We'll let Gary do all the hard work, but we'll let you give a shout out to some personal supporters.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, Hot Toddies and Welshie's United Electrical and yeah, just the boys, Sim boys.
All right, mate. Well, we'll see you back next week. Not quite sure where we are next week, Carl. No, put him on the spot. Yep.
Australasian Superspeedway next week. As we can see on the screen.
Draft City.
Draft City, you're right there. Okay, all right, mate. Well, congratulations again on a second place, and we will see you next week at iRacing Superspeedway.
Yep. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
There's a happy chappy, and we will pull up our race winner for the opening round of season 6, Mr. Gary Willman. Welcome to the booth, mate, and congratulations on the race win.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Yeah, thanks. It was nice to get a win.
Well, a great way to start a season off, picking up from where you basically left off last year, and it's good to see you back up here in the booth.
Yes, always good to get one early. Could have been a bit of a roll of the dice for me or Barry or Cade there at the end. I think Cade got balked a bit by a lap car, and he did. Yeah, we were tossing up, whether got him back through or not. But no, that's how it worked out, and shaped up pretty well for the team.
Yeah, definitely did, mate. Well, iRacing Superspeedway next week. You love it or hate it?
I enjoy the super speedways, but I don't know. Lately, some of these tracks where you get a bit more tyre wear, I've kind of sort of found me groove a bit with them now. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens in iRacing Superspeedway because I don't think it'll be as caution free as tonight was.
Yeah, maybe not, but it was great racing tonight, mate. Before we let you go, shout out. We left all the hard work to you. Shout out to sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, again, mate, just all the Sim boys, always in and having a crack. Hot Toddies Heating, United Electrical, Yeah, all the series sponsors, you guys for the broadcast, and yeah, my missus Alana, she cracked the shits because I didn't give a shout out the other week there, and all the mums out there on Mother's Day too. So
All right, mate. Well, congratulations again. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week at the Super Speedway, iRacing Super Speedway.
yeah, cheers, boys. Catch you next week.
All right. All right. Well, Carl, we got Raymond down there. We might just pull him up quickly and have a word with the league owner and the man that finished fourth place tonight, Raymond Jager.
Hey guys, how are we?
Good, mate. Good. You've got to be happy with that as a opening round for season 6.
Yeah, can't complain at all. Fourth, well, it would be third because Barry gets disqualified for not turning up to the post race. So it'll be third and fourth for me and Justin, and we'll be happy with that for sure.
Ah, well, there you go. A nice way to get third. Well, not a nice way, but a good finish in the end.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Obviously, you know, we want boys that finish in the top 3 to come have a chat with the broadcasters, obviously, and if they're not going to do that, they deserve to be disqualified. So, look, I'll take the points, but obviously, fourth on the night, really, and I didn't really have anything for those boys. Was a long, long way behind them.
Well, you didn't do too bad. Like, you started out of I think it was 21st and drove yourself up in the fourth. The only other person that made any moves was like that was Mr. Matty Ray from the SRM boys.
Yeah, so I messed up my qualifying, tagged the wall on the first lap, and that's your fast lap. So yeah, dug a bit of a hole early, and then didn't get any practice in, so I didn't know what like the tyres were going to do and things like that. So I sort of just tried to save them early, and then like when we had that early caution at 15, lap 15 or 16 or something, I'd only used like 3% of tyres, so I thought, I better get a move on and try and get to the front. But I was starting towards the back on that restart because I missed the pit bay on the first try, so I had to go back around, and yeah, so starting like that at the back of the pack. By the time I sort of got through to, I think I got to about 12th, and then the other boys were 5 or 6 seconds down the road, and I was never going to catch them without killing the tyres, so I had to just sort of drive around there and sort of consolidate. And then we tried a bit of a half fuel sort of thing at the next pit stop, and that didn't really work out either. So yeah, no, the other boys just too good, the Sim boys and Baz. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we've seen one guy tonight blow a tyre. Have you ever thought about throwing another set of tyres at the car? But if you do that, I guess it changes the complexity of the race a little bit and makes it maybe a little bit easier for the guys.
Yeah, so no, we've never really considered it because it would change the dynamic of what we want from the league. So the idea is that we limit tyres and limit fuel to try and make strategy really important. And you know, I think it plays out really well on the broadcast in these sorts of races, especially when it goes green, where like guys are on 3 or 4 different strategies, and it's nice to see how it sort of plays out. You don't really know until like the last green flag stops. So we really like that element of it, and it gives you a few options with what you can do at your stops and things like that. So that's the idea about it. So I don't think we'll ever throw another set of tyres at it because, as you said, it'd probably make it a bit too easy, and you can just sort of go hell for leather and probably cause a few more cautions as well, which no one wants to see.
No, you definitely want to see as much green flag racing as you can. Well, mate, that's a great way to look at it. I mean to say, yeah, you really don't know. Like, we've seen Kobe Jordan there trying to run as long as he could, praying. I know he was praying to every known god in the living universe for a caution. But as you said, with that one set of tyres, it really makes you have to think about your race strategy.
Yeah, I mean, Cobes did an amazing job tonight. We, myself and Justin, were having a chat, and we were just wondering if he was actually going to be able to extend it out and actually make it at the end there, because I think he only stopped with like 7 or 8 to go, so he like nearly got there. He's done an amazing job, so he's a bit unlucky, and I think he still got 7th or 8th in the end. So,
well, yeah, he would have
too badly.
Yeah, it would have definitely moved him up one spot with Barry being DQ'd. But yeah, well, mate, congratulations on on third place tonight. Great to be invited back to call these races along with Carl. So thank you very much, and definitely looking forward to the rest of this season with an opening race like that.
Yeah, no, it should be an absolute ripper season, so looking forward to it. I think we go to iRacing Super-speedway next week, which not many people go to, so that should be a bit interesting with that dip in turn 3 there. So, yeah.
Don't you mean the dip in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4?
I mean, yeah, but I mean 3. The 1 in 3 is like really noticeable. Like that one's the one that sort of sends people a few ways. So it should be an interesting race next week. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good season, and yeah, hopefully go back to back.
Well, he's hoping for you, mate. So before we let you go, buddy, shout out to sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, obviously couldn't do it without the league sponsors. Like they get this broadcasted each week basically. So My Private Seller have been with us since I think season 2. So amazing job from them guys. United Electrical Solutions, Hotties Heating Installs, Witcher Electrics, you boys at Performance E-Streaming. Wouldn't have it any other way. You boys have been amazing since coming on board at the start of last season, and have done an amazing job week in, week out. And I guess RKJ Web Service as well. Better give myself a plug. So yeah, if you need a web service, get onto me and I'll sort you out. And obviously the boys at Pinnacle Esports, Nige, Justin, Greg and Matt, make going on here and doing this fun. So yeah, thanks to those boys. Thanks to you boys again.
Yeah, no worries, mate. With words like that, you're welcome back up here anytime.
Hopefully I'll be up here a few more times this season. That's definitely the plan. Hopefully on the top step next time, and hopefully earn the top 3 next time as well.
Yeah, you weren't far off it tonight, but thanks anyway, mate, for your time, and I'll let you take yourself out of the room because I'm just out away from the computer at the moment.
No worries, mate.
The happy of having a Wi-Fi headset.
That's it. No worries. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks, mate. Well,
Great.
there you have it, Carl. A DQ for Barry Neal, and a well-deserved, really, with a drive like that in the 3rd place for Raymond Jager.
Absolutely, and look, we never like to see post-race penalties happening, but always you can catch the post-race debrief and all the information, all the scar that goes on after the race over on Facebook on the Australasian Supercar eSeries page, because they will broadcast their post-race findings, the post-race tech, the post-race the judge's adjudication. So the admins will post that over there. They'll be going live in a couple of moments. So if ever you need to check out for that, just to find out exactly what's gone on, see who's got a penalty, who hasn't, and everything like that, and find out the full official results for the race, head over to the Australasian Supercar eSeries Facebook page and watch the stream. Of course, tonight we are finishing up, and we are finished basically. Next time out, we are going to be going to the iRacing Super-speedway. Very different track, place that we have not broadcast from on Performance E-Streaming, so it's going to be a very different place. I have raced there, so I know what it's like. It's a very fast, very long track, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, very long. It's 3 miles long, which is whatever it is in kilometres. I know it's a long lap, so some good racing to be had next week. But that's not all the racing. We are back in the full swing, both here on Performance E-Streaming and over on Checkered Flag E-Streaming. So it's a full week for us again, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. The trucks kick off again tomorrow night, which will be bringing all the action of the ANSCAR trucks over on Checkered Flag E-Streaming. And then we're heading off to Charlotte for the Cup Series. It is the ANSCAR Cup on Charlotte, next time up on Performance E-Streaming. So we hope you can join us there. From myself, Carl Wilkinson, with Mr. Mark Johansson, we're going to wish you all a very good night, and we will see you again coming in the next week or so. From all of us here, good night, and we'll see you again soon.